Well, hello and welcome to another little video. Not exactly sure how to present this one because this one comes from a understanding that I have based on experiences that have occurred to me over the last 25 years, really, maybe 30 years, probably within 5 years of having discovered A Course in Miracles. 5 years before that time and up to present day, and the experiences themselves cover everything from direct union with God, realization of self, to an experience of meeting what I can only call to be overseers or elders who are in part in charge of the experiment or the process or the playing out or the orchestration of the particulars of the idea of salvation, often referred to as the tech crew or um, higher guides, if you want to look at it that way. And also from an experience of, hey buddy, hello, from this experience also. Also from an experience of a meeting with what I guess most people would call extraterrestrials and being taken aboard a vessel and all of that sort of thing. None of these experiences, however, are going to be believable, particularly to anyone who has not at least remained open-minded to the possibility of other experiences beyond the see, hear, smell, touch, and taste parameters of the human experience. So I wanted to talk about salvation because the whole purpose of my participation in the experiment of salvation, the whole reason I came back here from the eternal realm or the formless realm, was to be helpful. So in talking about salvation, then, you have to understand what it actually is. It's easy to say that the zenith point of salvation was the resurrection of a man known as Jesus from the idea of death some 2,000 years ago. And what's been made of that event since then is a travesty indeed. The religious organizations of this world have done their best to keep from you the truth of any real revelation that anyone since then has had regarding salvation, in favor of trying to co-opt you into participation with some kind of a temporal order, or sect, which is definitely not my intention. You are free right now to turn this video off, to watch the rest of it, to do whatever you want to do with it. And I'm not going to tell you good or bad one way or the other, or you're going to go to hell for this or heaven for that. I'm just going to give you the facts. And as I said before, these facts are based on the experiences I've had and the learnings since and within that time frame, which support those experiences and have helped me to make sense of those experiences. Because as you can probably imagine, those things kind of fry the brain. They you step out of time and space once and have even one transcendental experience, and it changes everything. It changes the way you see yourself, others, the world, absolutely everything. And if you're watching this from a future reference, we're in the year 2021, and the world seems to be beset with a load of very small-minded people at this time who are only just starting to awaken, and I'm talking about the leaders of the world, awaken from um, the desire and the wish to kill each other in war to gain domination. And whilst I say that awakening is happening, it's not complete yet, so don't underestimate the power of insanity. But there's something else that's happening across the world. We call it the Great Awakening, and it's being taken up by countless, thankfully, countless individuals at the moment who are pursuing their own salvation through the application of the principles taught through the Bible, the Quran, the Gitas, and A Course in Miracles, which is in this time zone the most latter-day teaching regarding enlightenment, salvation, nirvana, all of that. So what it is, through my own experiences, salvation is an offering through the circle of atonement. The offering takes the form of a kind of a rescue effort where man is offered a lifeline. Man is offered a way out of the situation in which he finds himself, that he has put himself into. Now, the world, the physical world, is a place where the nature of the situation that man finds himself in can be understood, where how it has come about that he has done this to himself can be understood, and also where what he was and is prior to and at the end of this time space could perhaps be trillions of years intercession, what he is, regarding that. So what I am and what you are, what we are as one, is spirit, the Christ, Krishna consciousness, Christ consciousness. We are a conscious association on earth as one, and the miracle, if you're a student of A Course in Miracles, will show you that minds are joined. In reality, we are one. We are not individuals as one, we are one. And that takes the experience of your own enlightenment to understand. It's impossible to understand it with the conceptual mind, because the conceptual mind, the conscious mind, only represents the domain of the ego, which is the temporal, the physical nature of life. And everything within it is potential of a belief, is the potential of a belief in separation from source, and therefore the denial of source. And it's a miracle that salvation has even managed to enter into this time zone at this time, into this place at this time. And I say that because of the nature of consciousness, and you don't really have to look too far further than picking up the morning paper or turning on your television to see what's going on in the world, and to see the nature of the childishness that is portrayed as relationships globally, nationally. It's really, really, really poor quality stuff in that regard. It's like the nut house is being run by the inmates, And I'm sure I don't need to convince anyone of that. So if you can take it from me just for a moment until you have your own experience, that you are a being of a divine origin. You will always be a being of a divine origin, and you will remain that way forever and ever. Amen. You can never die. And that the world you see around you is the dream, the manifest dream, as a second stage response to an idea in which you believe of separation from source. Where is God? What is God? Is there really a God? If there is a loving God, why did children be born with disease, etc., etc.? All of these questions. And there will never be an end to those questions. You will simply find, and I can give you adequate answers to all of those questions, including the one about children. But you have to look at the world as a whole, as a place where minds come to experience the potential individually contained for each one within that framework of the parameters of the idea of separation from source. And you never know what you're going to get. And as you go through one lifetime and another lifetime and another lifetime, and I'm not talking about reincarnation, because you are you the whole time. And reincarnation, although the remanifestation of the physical form as an idea of repeating a lesson occurs, the actual reanimation of you each time as an individual being does not occur. It's like pushing play again on a movie. You're watching exactly the same movie. It's exactly the same character. It just seems to be starting again. It's not a remake of a whole nother movie that's similar. And I hope that clears that up for people that often write to me about reincarnation, especially my brethren in India there. Hari Om. So the idea of salvation then is a way wherein you can participate on an individual level to change the nature of your mind from its fixed position of thinking that it is born and going to die, and that the identity around that idea is encompassed through the reference of the body. You can change your mind from that framework of self-reference to one that is a higher, less dense, through faith, through a willingness to take on board some other ideas that are fresh, and begin to apply the principles those ideas pertain to in your life out here in the physical sense, in relationships, to begin to see the power of your mind by the changes that occur as you apply the principles of those ideas, those concepts. And we call that a spiritual path. So beyond this world, people often ask me, what happens when you lay the body down, when you die? Well, you don't die, but the body, after it's laid aside, leaves the mind in the void, which is where the mind doesn't really want to go. Leaves the mind in the void to be collected, if you like, by higher level beings, and to be appraised for either a replaying of the physical experience with the hope of improving the record, or being allowed to go onward in the journey of the soul, because indeed of having improved the record, made use of the time on the physical plane. And if you don't make use of your time on the physical plane, you have no one else to blame for that but yourself. And so you have me sitting here, having had some 3 or 4 transcendental experiences, naturally through meditation and prayer, telling you that there's more going on here than meets the eye. And if you do not choose to participate in it, then you are already actively choosing to participate in the continuity of the running program, which is the denial program. And no matter what ideas may come to you as notions of healing and everything else like that, nothing will occur but that you will hit the replay button again at the end. And I don't expect you to believe me about that or even appreciate that I'm telling you that. It's not one of those things that, being, when you're made aware of it, you jump up and down and go, oh, thank God. I knew there was something weird going on here in this world. Not often anyway. Occasionally I meet people that will say to me, oh, this is all sort of making sense now. I understand. And actually embrace the message. But it's very difficult to try and convey the totality of the message without the preamble or the backdrop of the situation that the necessity for the message is driven from. So the idea then of beyond the body, don't be too concerned about it. It's better to be concerned with making progress, making improvement and change in the nature of the relationships that you find yourself with on earth. And all relationships, because everything here on earth has a beginning and an ending, all relationships here have a beginning and an ending in a metaphysical sense, I guess. And if you are honest and if you are willing to stay in the continuity and the evolution and the ongoing nature of your spiritual journey, your spiritual awakening, which is really an action of mind that is required in a recurring sense, you will come to an internal awareness of every time a relationship has the necessity for its alpha point and its omega point, its beginning and its end. And in the beginning, of course, it's very easy to spot the nature of a relationship because relationships are all about yourself. Every relationship I have with someone else, I'm having a relationship with myself. Somebody else only represents ideas to me, thoughts in my own mind about that person that are either going to reflect truth or not truth. And as I go through the process of purifying my mind regarding what I think the purpose of this relationship with this person or situation is, so the changes that are brought about through that purification will manifest in the relationship. I'll be able to see it manifest in the relationship if my endeavor is an honest one, and go on to the next. And perhaps one relationship might offer many opportunities for healing, many opportunities to forgive oneself of the various facets being presented of the idea of separation from source, because that's all that's actually being healed, is a relationship with the whole. There are no individual entities, no individual people walking around. There are no others. And in that, I often have people ask me, why do you make videos then if there's no one else? And there's another whole level that goes on there where the expression of truth and the knowledge or the technology for aligning with it that comes from truth is encapsulated in a kind of a grace, in a kind of a sacredness that illuminates and changes the nature of consciousness, whether anyone hears the words I'm speaking now or sees this video or not. It is the use and the purpose of my mind that I have chosen for that enables the light within to do the work. And the expression of my own certainty as a seeming individual within a realm of billions of individuals is the catalyst through which that vibration can be felt and experienced across the cosmos, across the universe, which enables the collapse of time necessary between the greater alpha and the greater omega to bring an end to the time of all things visible. I like the analogy of sailors sunk in a submarine at the bottom of the ocean, and they're tapping on the hull to try and attract attention, and sound in water travels a long way. Tapping on the hull, and they've been heard. But in order to be rescued, they have to breach the hull. They have to open that portal, which they're very fearful to do because the water will come rushing in. And it's much the same with the idea of returning to love. You have to allow that portal to be opened. You have to be willing to allow something to occur in your mind, not of this world, which is going to allow love to come flooding into your awareness in the memory of it, the whole memory of it, so that you can begin to apply that to the seeming imbalance or the seeming chaotic nature of the particulars of your own world here, to bring your mind that is relative to this world, as above, so below, to peace in the understanding that God's will is done. Open the hatch, let the water in. Well, I think it's amazing that we can sit here and in the idea of the offering of salvation, 2,000 years from the point of its origins in this temporal plane, to discuss and talk and read about it in the face of so much witness that opposes it. You know, it's incredible. Some would say it's insanity. But having had those experiences and more, like not just the transcendental ones were particularly mind-altering and mind-blowing, but just the communicative like that. The little ones, I call them the little ones, but really they're more powerful than anything. You know, there are universes beyond universes and life forms beyond life forms. The nature of salvation in this plane is something that allows us to begin to reconnect with the diversity and the enormity of the spectrum of life, even from within this dense association with it. It's beautiful. There is no death. You're free.